What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hunter, coming to you live with another episode on a literal, well, I can't say literal trip to the pond, but another trip to the pond. Now, I mentioned when I posted last week's video a couple days ago, that for the next 3 videos, I was going to be going home. And I didn't necessarily mean that I was going back to Owego. Because obviously, if you think about it, home is where the heart is what the saying, is how the saying goes. Now, I've already done a video in Owego. It was actually my second one. But when I say that I'm going home, over the next 3 weeks, counting today, I am going to be going to the places that for the majority of my life were basically the foundation of, the person that you all know today. Now, I do have all 3 of these in order, but for the sake of the videos, I will keep that order to myself. Today, we have decided to come to an area that was basically in the majority of home for me. For the better part of 9 years. Now, this area is very, very, very small. So small, in fact, that it is considered one of the smallest areas in all of Broome County. But I started to say in my video before last that I was going to be doing a new thing in my videos, and I never actually got the chance to do it. So I would like to welcome you all to the Hamlet Shenango Forks. Now, the reason that this place is so important to me is for many different reasons. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, it is very, very, very small. So small that you basically drive a little bit, you're in the hamlet, you drive a little bit more, and you're already in the next area. There are 3 reasons why this place is so special to me. First and foremost, as I mentioned in the beginning, this place is the area, well, not this place in particular, but we'll get to that shortly in the video. But this place is where I spent the most of my, we'll say, this is where I spent all of my teenage years until I moved to Deposit in 2012. By the time I moved to Deposit in 2012, I was already in my 20s. And it was a peaceful time. So for 9 years, I was in the area of Shenango Forks. From the time that I was 11, I moved here in 2003. Yeah, when I was 11. And I spent 9 years here until 2012. The second reason why this place is very important to me is because of the historical value of this particular place. Now, because the hamlet is not very big, it may seem like it doesn't have a lot of history. However, you would be sadly mistaken. The hamlet of Shenango Forks was named because it is the area where the Tioga and the Susquehanna River fork and split off in different directions. One area forks to the west, the other forks off to the north. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Very scenic. Very, I wouldn't say very historic, but appropriately historic, to say the least. And very, very close-knit. As a matter of fact, because of the final fact of why this place is important to me, excuse me, I actually knew more of my neighbors here than I do now in Owego. And I've been in Owego, this November, it'll be 5 years. But the third and most important reason why this place is important to me and why it was home for 9 years is because of the fact that this is the area that I graduated from. Shenango Forks High School, class of 2010. And I spent from 2003 to 2010 as a student of the district. And then I spent an additional 2 years living in the area before we moved. And trust me when I say, if I could go back to a certain time in my life and, relive an era, it would definitely be my high school era. Only because of the fact that I had a ton of friends, I had a ton of things to do, weather permitting, and I also had plenty of places to go. As small as this area is, there is quite a bit out here. Not locationally, anyway, but there's still a lot to do. As you guys can hear the cars whizzing by, the good thing, or should I say one of the best things about the area that I lived in was the fact that we were right on the main highway. Route 12 ran through the entire town. As a matter of fact, the place that I grew up was right on the main drag. Trust me, we got a lot of how do I say, a lot of benefits out of where we lived. And a lot of good things happened out here. We were afforded the luxury of living in this area. And like I said, I missed it. I miss it living out here. And the only reason that this place to me is considered home is, like I said, because it's so close-knit. It's how do I say, it's small in area, but everybody pretty much knows everybody. And as I said, locationally, there's not a lot here. You don't really need a lot when it comes to, the area, but it's what it is, I guess. A lot of the places that I spent most of the time was that one of which was actually my yard. We had a beautiful ranch house down about a mile down the road, And it was very, very convenient because we had a wood stove in the house, and during the colder months, we were actually allowed to go up on the hill, cut trees down, and chop wood for our wood stove. That all started here for me. Another thing that started here for me was my seriousness into the, I guess you could say, world of weightlifting, because I got my first weight set when I lived out here. I got given a set of barbells, and then I got a weight bench, and then I got more weights, and as time went on, you know, I just got more and more into it, and, you know, it just became a hobby of mine. And, you know, as they say, the rest is history. Everything else came full circle and, you know, led me to the person that I am today. Now, another place that I spent a lot of time was the area that I frequented the most. Now, for me, this wasn't what it actually is. This was the local swimming hole. But this area is known as the fishing access site. So right here by the bridge, I'll give you guys a brief showing of that. This bridge right here in the distance is a railroad bridge, is still in use to this day as far as I know. And believe it or not, I had a lot of friends who would be very adventurous and would actually climb to the top of the railroad bridge and jump off into the water. I called every single one of them crazy until they asked me to do it, and then I said they were insane. This is the Tioga River that spans through Shenango Forks, and as you can see down here, it goes down, and then this is where the name of the hamlet comes into play. The river forks right there underneath the bridge, and one goes that way, the other goes that way, which is really cool. For me, like I said, this was a swimming hole and was also the, I guess you could say, the local gathering area for all the high school kids. I spent many summers right here, every summer that I could. The year I graduated from high school was the most significant. I had my graduation party in 2009. I said to all of my friends, I said, hey guys, let's go up and go swimming at the watering hole. I had 23 people with me here at this site just to go swimming. And it was probably the happiest time of my life. And I wish I could go back to that, but obviously you can't go back in time. So that's the, I'm sorry, I flipped my camera around. That is the west side of the river. The other side of the river isn't, you know, as significant as the other. But we'll walk over here anyway. Because this, I'm sorry, that's the south side. That's the south side of the river. Right? No, that is the west. Is it? Nope. That's the east. That's the east side of the river. This is the west side of the river. Now, this side of the river isn't as spectacular as the other side. Because unfortunately, over here, there's not much water. Even in the cold, the more productive months of the year, this river does not fill up unless we get torrential downpours, like for 7 days straight, and then it was pretty high. But at that point, obviously you don't want to swim in it. This side is the more open side of the river, and this is actually where the fishermen come down and do their fly fishing. People actually launch their boats from up here, and they actually go all the way down the river, both east and west, and just do some fishing. Right down there on the bank, there's actually a father and his son having some Father's Day fishing, and the older gentleman came down by us and wished me a happy Father's Day, and I wished him the same. Real quick, I'd like to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers who happen to watch this video, and also to the mothers pulling double duty, because I spent some significant time with my dad up here, and it was actually quite fascinating. Very quick, I want to tell you guys a little secret about this area. My brother and I, when we were younger, my dad out when he started his scrap metal business, and we would often come up here and look around, the area for scrap metal that had washed, onto the banks and stuff. Trust me, we made out pretty good, at least for his sake anyway. But as far as I know, to this day, back in the brushes, there's actually an old wagon that has been buried in the ground, I believe, since the early 2000s. And my brother and I tried everything that we could to get said wagon out, and we never got it. We believe that what happened is a wagon had washed down from a farm or something, had gotten stuck in the ground, had filled in after a couple of years of like rain and stuff, and just got neglected, got covered over with brush and rocks, and is just kind of stuck in the ground. We took my dad up there one time before we moved, and he basically said the only way you're ever going to get that out is if you get an excavator, which, given the area down there, is physically impossible because you'd probably collapse the bank or something before you ever got that wagon out. So there's a couple areas over on the east bank, down in behind those trees, where you find old stuff buried in the ground, washing machines, dryers. That's kind of where I got the idea for going to the riverbanks in the summertime to look for scrap metal, is because my dad always told me that when the tides rise in areas like this, they kind of sweep through people's yards. They might take their farm equipment or whatever they have outside away, and then over the years it'll wash up on shore, and then it's basically free for the taking as long as you're in a public area. I've pretty much done that every single year when it gets nice out like it is now. Before we continue, I would like to tell you, make sure you guys stay hydrated later this week, because it is supposed to reach record temperatures around, I think it's supposed to start on Tuesday. It's supposed to be up in the 90s. And I believe by Thursday or Friday, it's supposed to be up near 100 degrees with a heat index of over 100. So, like I said, make sure you stay hydrated. And if you can help it, stay out of the direct sunlight, or you're gonna roast. Me, I have no problem with that because I love the heat, and I have been waiting for days like these in order to just go out and actually do stuff. Unfortunately for me, I do have to pull 4 doubles next week, so I'm not gonna get a lot of time outside unless I'm at one job and I do happen to go outdoors and actually do stuff, which I'm actually hoping happens, but not counting my chickens before they hatch. So, we've reached the part of the video where we go around to the area and I show you some of the significance of, you know, the area and what the area has to offer in terms of what there is to do and the types of things that you can see around here. Now, I already showed you guys the most prominent, which is the fishing access / the swimming hole. But up here in the actual fork, another reason why the hamlet is named Shenango Forks is because when you get to a certain place, the area actually forks off, just like most hamlets do. But the difference is this one actually does fork off in 4 directions if you go different areas. To the north is Green, to the south is Binghamton, to the east is North Fenton, and to the west is Whitney Point. But we are stuck here in Shenango Forks, so I'm going to show you what this area has to offer. My headphones are starting to die, so I hope I could do this before my batteries run out. What we got here is our little post office. Granted, I lived in this area for 9 years, and I had never once been to this post office. I love the fact that it's kind of hidden behind the trees and stuff, because otherwise you wouldn't even know that we had a post office. Obviously, you can see that it says United States Post Office, Shenango Forks, New York, and the area code 13746. I don't remember, I would have never remembered that if I hadn't looked up there, because I don't remember types of things like that. Down this road here to the west is Route 79. I mentioned that if you go west, you head back out towards Whitney Point. Now, down this road is the very old, historic Charlotte Kenyon Elementary School, which closed in 2004 and is now a vacant building. Unfortunately, plans have been made over the last almost 20 years to do something with the area, with the old school, but nothing has ever come to fruition. So the building is just sitting decrepit, falling apart, and hopefully they can get the funds together to restore the building and do something with it. Across the street from where I am is the local, I guess you could say, the local diner, as it is now. Currently, the place is known as Dottie's Kitchen, but when I was living out here, it was actually several other things. In the time that I lived here, it went through many different names, many different appearance changes. Hi. Hold on a second. Many different appearances and many different owners that you know, kind of changed its look and whatnot, but it was a nice place to go, nice for the community to get to, and you know, a nice place to eat, really cheap. Over to that, we have the only gas station for about 5 miles, which has also changed ownership more than once and has actually been a staple of the town for the last, I'd say, at least 15-20 years. But very good place to go, very nice people, and very nice area, you know, staple. And last but not least, we have the local bar, Davies Last Chance Saloon. My dad spent a considerable amount of time up there versus me, but it was nice because, you know, at least you have somewhere where people can come meet. You got bikers, local residents, and just everyday people gathering and having a good time. And as a matter of fact, I just ran into somebody who I knew a long time ago, and I'm actually gonna go say hi. So that concludes today's video. stay tuned for the next one, because next one we are going closer to home.